Matt Aguilar here from comicbook.com. And today, for our special Power Morphicon, everybody in Power Rangers Beast Morphers' awesome panel. That is my title for this
Love the
panel.
title.
Done.
So good.
It's awesome. We get to talk to the awesome cast of Power Rangers Beast Morphers. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So, let's get to some introductions. So we will start off with Colby Strong. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Liana Ramirez.
Hi. So good to see you. How are you doing?
Good. We have Kristina Ho.
Hey, Maddie.
Maddie.
I love it. Oh, I love it. And Campbell Cooley. How are you, sir?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me, and it's just great to see the old gang together again.
Hi, Campbell.
Okay, I gotta say, you guys didn't see it, but I got to witness like a very just like genuinely sweet and very awesome moment when everybody figured out who was on this panel. And it was like it was so genuine and it was awesome, and it's why I absolutely adore this cast. This cast rocks. So starting kind of just for funsies, just looking back at the season, what is your favorite moment of the season involving your character? And then also and it might be one and the same, but what was the biggest challenge to shoot, or that moment to kind of make happen, or that line to get, whatever that kind of encompasses? Let's start with Colby.
Yeah, it's a huge question because, rarely do you ever film 44 episodes straight. So we're choosing from a 44 episode standpoint, which most television shows now only have 10, right? So
Right.
It's a huge choice, but I feel like the first thing that comes to my mind is my episode, episode 18 or 19 in season 2. And just even that honor in general to be able to kind of have this whole episode kind of focused on Blaze's like journey at that point. And be able to play both good and bad. But there was this one scene, like my favorite, I think of like almost consecutively as a cast. I don't think that's the right word. Collectively as a cast. We had that scene where Blaze like kind of like, I don't know, like pushes down Nate's plan to bring Evox in and how they were going to do that. And, it gets really heated and Blaze is kind of being not a nice guy. And we all sat there after, like, it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours of filming, and we ended and all of us were like, oh, that feels so good to like have this dramatic like scene, where it was no spectacle, like it was just acting. And it was really, really nice, which sometimes you don't get with, all the spectacle with the show. So that, and then all the fighting scenes, I definitely was like the least good at fighting with all the other Rangers and Liana. And so for the journey for me to go on and like really like prove myself as a fighter and being able to do all the martial arts and my own stunts, it was really cool. So anyway, that's what I would say.
Awesome. Who wants to jump in?
I'll go next. So kind of following up with Colby, I feel very similar. There was an episode where I think it was season 2, episode 2, where Roxy got to play. I got to play both Roxys, good and evil. And it's just one of those moments where you look at yourself and you're like, wow, this is such an honor. Like the writers are just giving us a beautiful gift. And I was so thankful just to be able to play both. And kind of, I think my answer is almost exactly the same as Colby's. I think one of the most challenging but most rewarding parts of the show was doing the stunts, because it's very technical and you want to get it right and you want to look good. And it's just so much fun. And I think some of my favorite acting bits, growing up, I was very inspired by Selena Gomez on Wizards of Waverly Place. And there was moments where Roxy was very similar to Alex Russo. And it was just like, that's such a gift to be able to play something so similar to what inspired me to be an actor in the first place. So just all around, the whole show was just so, it was wonderful. It was just all around wonderful.
I love that.
Yeah, I now that you say the Waverly Place thing, it clicks.
It clicks, right? There's the moments where I'm like, that was so Alex Russo. What? Like, so good.
That's a dope show.
It's a great show.
Kristina, what's yours?
I would have to say I mean, Betty had a lot of moments. We got to be honest here. I would say at the end of season 2, when Ben and Betty finally just pull through, and catch Scrozzle, like I was like, oh my god, finally, like they did something to help the Rangers. Finally, it always feels really good when they are actually of help to the team, because I know Ben and Betty have a hard time pulling through a lot of the time. You know what I mean? And I would have to say, challenging moments. I feel like, I don't know, there was one day where Coz and I had to like roll down a hill, and it just had like all this like duck poop in it. And like the art department had to obviously like pick it up before we rolled down, but like knowing that there was like a bunch of poop on there before we rolled down, I was like, so there were a lot of challenging moments, but I would have to say, I think that one kind of sticks out to me for sure. But I would say my favorite moment was when Ben and Betty, catch Scrozzle in the end. And yeah.
Yeah, I can't. And by the way, even if someone has cleaned up duck
I
poop
know.
going down thing, there was duck poop there in the last 24 hours.
We had to
not
smell
rolling
it.
down that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's not happening. Campbell, what's yours?
Oh, well, that's kind of hard because, I had the luxury of not having to physically act on the show. So I had it a lot easier than my counterparts. So, I mean, there's no way I could have done those fight scenes or pratfalls or whatever. So
I don't know what you're talking about. I think you could have nailed it.
Good.
So, I would say, I mean, for me, my favorite moment, it's a scene towards the end of season 1 where season 1 where you're trying to collect the transporters so you can steal a Morphex tower, and it's all going horribly wrong, and Blaze and Roxy come in and they're like, oh my gosh, we're about to lose these transporters and everything, and Blaze says, sending it, he wants a distraction, says, send in the Giga drone, and Scrozzle goes, what's the magic word?
Also amazing. Wow, just like
Right.
Didn't even-
just perfect.
Yeah.
Like perfect reading.
So, and there was something I quite liked about Scrozzle, is that he had this kind of, even though he wasn't the nicest guy in the world, he had this sense of honor and politeness about him. So I quite really enjoyed that moment. In terms of the hardest thing for me, oh my gosh, I would say probably just finding the voice for it, because when you go into these things, they don't give you a brief on what the character is going to be. You don't know how long they're going to be around, and I went in just knowing he was this scientific genius, and he kind of ended up working for the villains, but I mean, I had no idea he was going to make it to the very end and be technically the only survivor. So I think for me, it was kind of like the hardest part for me was finding the voice, because initially he kind of starts off as a bit of a bully and he's kind of angry. But as the series progressed, I could sense he was becoming more childlike. So I kind of took it in that direction. And, so yeah, the biggest challenge for me was just trying to find the voice and settle into it.
So they don't tell you that like he's going to be around, or like this is like, so you don't know like the difference between like, oh hey, this is like a big bad and like NPC number 84, like you don't know.
Right, like the character of the show, you know what I mean? Like,
oh my god, that's nuts.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, I
crazy.
literally
That's awesome.
I knew nothing. I literally went in thinking, he'd probably be destroyed in 5 episodes and that's it. And then he was like, I think
he
A plus
kept coming back, didn't he? We love Scrozzle.
His A plus opinions likes to say he's like that cockroach you can't kill. He just keeps coming back.
That is a perfect example. Like definitely, like Blazer Roxy definitely don't want him there. So, but he always keeps coming back. He's the constant of the show.
That's in his Wikipedia bio, is that he's a cockroach. So now that you guys have had, because it feels like, it does not feel, and in fact, kind of going back and looking at stuff for these panels, it was like, it does not feel like it was so long ago that the seasons released. I feel like because time is liquid now, and it's this weird, like Wednesday feels like Tuesday and all that stuff. But it's been a minute. So like you guys have like, of course, gone on to do other things, and you're already kind of head deep in other projects. So looking back at Beast Morphers now as like a season, and actually as an entire series, what do you appreciate most about it?
Oh.
Yeah, that's big.
That's a big question.
I mean, I feel like a part of it, I don't know if this is like my final answer, but like the first thing that stands out is like, I'm just proud of like us as a family that came together to do this show. You know, like we all put a lot aside to give it all to this job. And honestly, like I am proud to look back and say, wow, like that's our season. You know, there's so many. And for us, like I'm just so grateful that I was chosen to be a part of this cast of 8 people and we did that. Like I don't know, like I just am proud of us, you know, and be able to look back and still be proud of my work, like personally, but then also just all of us. Like I said, we put it all into it, everything. And so to then look back and be like, it's still like holds strong and it's a competitor for one of the greatest. Like I love that. Like I'm proud of us.
It seems like looking back, it was this beautiful 9-month dream. And it was just a time in our lives that when we were there, we were like constantly pinching ourselves going, this is one of the most incredible experiences we will ever go through. And I feel like that's going to be true moving forward in our careers, even though we'll hopefully, and crossing my fingers and praying that for each one of us, that we go on and do incredible things. But I think all of us will agree that this is going to be one of the special moments in our life creating this show. And it's such a good show. Just looking at it like, wow, we watch it and we're like, we did that. It's so fun. It's so much fun. So it's definitely a huge blessing for all of us.
I think looking back, I mean, in the moment we did appreciate it, but now looking back to the time, I was like, you know, I wish I was more, I guess, I wish I just soaked everything up more, right? Like just being with the cast, like eating dinners together, dancing together, like crying together, you know what I'm saying? Like all those things, I was like, wow, like we literally were a family for 9 months and we had each other to lean on and that was basically it. And just like all those little moments of like, you know, like everyone coming to like our apartment, you know, at the end of the day and like just talking with each other and like, you know, I don't know. I really do miss those times and I wish that I just soaked it up more when I was there.
Yeah.
And traveling more. I wish we explored New Zealand. I mean, we did do a lot of traveling, but I wish we had more time to do that as well.
100%.
Right.
Sure. Campbell?
I wholeheartedly agree with everything that they've said. I mean, this was a really special season. And I've worked on the show since 2005 and I've seen, you know, its highs and its lows and everything. And you know, I will say to my dying breath, Beast Morphers was a really, really special season. And I don't think the weight or reality of my involvement with it has really hit me yet. I think one of the biggest things about it that I really liked was just it had the ultimate twist that was 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Man, that's really, wow. Way to bring that question. That's perfect.
Wrapped it up.
Yeah,
right?
killed it.
Bow. Nice.
Miss Preston.
So yeah, I don't have anything great to follow that up with, so I'm just going to launch into my next question. On the flip side, I hate to bring this either because I don't want to necessarily mean this in like a negative way, but like on the flip side, is there something that, you know, you wish it would have had more of, or something extra? Is there something that like you would have liked the show to explore more?
I got one.
She was ready. She has it.
I got one. I'm just want to say I'm so happy with how everything went storyline wise, but I would have loved to have seen Blaze and Roxy maybe become Rangers, like good Rangers, and explored what that would have looked like alongside of the robots and the cyber villains and all that fun stuff going on. Like to see both dynamics happening at once would have been so cool. So
yeah. I
It's a
know
good one.
we were wondering that for a long time because we didn't know what the plot was going to happen, you know, or even just involvement as unmorphed, you know, like as good Blaze and Roxy. And we get that a lot. We get that question a lot, you know, where did Blaze and Roxy go? And what it was is they didn't want to confuse the kids of, you know, hey, who's who? So totally understand what their choice was in the end. But yeah, that would have been fun to explore. And kind of jumping off of that, I feel like the only thing besides that is probably just more unmorphed fights, which I think we got by the end. But then, but at the beginning, it's like, I just wish that we were like, I don't know, maybe it was training before, or we knew what we were trying to get at from the get-go, and there could have just been so much more even in season 1, But we got there, and I'm proud that the show could literally morph into what we made it by the end of season 2. We brought a lot of that by creating the character, and the writers even said, they were like, you guys created Blaze and Roxy, like we started writing the way that we hear, like specifically Liana. We would hear writers say that about Roxy because she's so sassy. And it's like, that's so fun that we chose that. Like Liana brought that, and you know what I mean? And we got to choose that. So even just exploring, I don't know, maybe more, like, I don't know, just more in general. But yeah, I don't know if that's what about you, Chris?
I would say that, I would have loved to see Betty be more of a badass at times. I know like Ben and Betty were the comedic duo, but I think she really wanted to fight people.
She was ready to fight.
I feel like she really wanted to take on the bad guys herself sometimes, and I would have loved to see her do that more. I know there are a few moments here and there, and also I would have loved to explore more of Betty's background, why is her dad white and her brother is Hispanic and she's Asian, you know what I mean? I would have loved to
that's
I just want to know what
really
that journey is.
Oh yeah, I would have loved to get to know of their background story, and obviously her dad, the general, and her brother, and how they came together. So that was something that I really wanted to know more about for sure.
I mean, that's a whole show in itself. Just understanding I'm
gonna call Chip right now and check that idea for you.
Oh my god. Okay, Campbell.
Oh gosh, there's too much to pick from. I think one of the things I liked about this season was there was a lot of wonderful stuff with family and the Rangers having parents. So if there's anything I kind of wish that they had built on, was I want to know, where were Blaze and Roxy's parents? They were in a coma and no one came to visit.
Oh, shit. I never once ever in my life have thought about that until right now.
Holy cow. That is
terrible parents. It's like, why would you not visit your child if they're in a coma, So.
Actually, I kind of created a theory. Wait, sorry, Lee. Were you saying something?
No, I just said, what are our last names?
Oh my lord, right. What are your last names?
We got that question a lot, and I told myself I had to kind of create my own theory about that. And I was like, honestly though, I wouldn't be surprised if why is Blaze so defensive over someone speaking over him or not respecting him at his karate class? It's because it's all he has. Why is he so mad about somebody taking the Red Ranger away from him? Why, of course, is he the best? Because I think maybe that's all he has. So I had to kind of I was like, okay, if I don't have parents, if I don't even have a name, what if Blaze isn't even his real name? What if he kind of is creating this identity for himself because he doesn't have anybody, and that's all he has is Grid Battle Force? So then when that's taken away from him, of course he's mad at this random kid that comes in and takes away this role from him. If you really look at that, it's so rooted, and it's of course he's mad. So I don't know. That was something I was kind of playing with or throughout I don't know, just kind of figuring out I don't know if I'll have parents. So let me just make these choices. So I don't know. I'm proud of that because I'm that all makes sense. And it's sad, actually. You're wow, I empathize with Blaze
very
now.
Sad.
Oh, wait, Blaze is a good guy.
I want to give Blaze a hug.
Blaze deserves a hug. Poor guy. He just has a lot of trauma, right?
So much childhood trauma. Seriously.
We've unearthed so many layers to the show just in the last 3 minutes. Yeah. Oh my god. I think we've got some sort of 60 minutes episode out of this because we need to find the parents, and then we have a Bravo show just trying to figure out Betty's lineage.
Right.
It's it's crazy. There's so much to mind here. Okay, so that was 2 segues in that whole thing, which is amazing. So cue 2 things up. So on Betty specifically, because is there a place where do you feel at some point she becomes a Ranger down the line? If we were to return, and there's a question later on kind of regarding this, but if we come back in 5-7 years, is that something she wants to do?
I feel like if we look at her character, you know, Grid Battle Force is her entire life. Like she loves it so much. And for her to have the honor of being a ranger, I feel like that would be her dream come true. Maybe she's not ready just yet, you know, but like you said, maybe in 5 years after she's had like a lot of training and she's like matured a bit, I feel like that would be like seriously her dream come true.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I love
just
that.
like it'd be amazing.
Can you imagine how happy she'd be?
That would be awesome.
You know, she would respect the job so much. Like she would be like, I will take this so
So
seriously.
Seriously.
Yeah, it would literally be like, yeah.
We're
we
giving
need to get
Nickelodeon
that.
all the ideas.
I know,
Every idea
literally,
they possibly.
Next season, they're
Yeah.
we watch the show and it's all of it. I'm dead.
Yeah, right.
There's going to be so many hashtags coming out of this panel. It's amazing. So now moving over, because you brought up the fact that like you would have, people did wonder kind of where did Blaze and Roxy go? They kind of, that was something that popped up. And, you know, if the natural inclination would be that, you know, you would become Rangers again, but you know, those colors are being used. So if that's the case, what colors, if you guys were to kind of return to active duty, would you pick new colors? What would those colors be? Like, is that something you feel like those characters would return to Ranger status full time, or would they do something else?
I'm so overwhelmed by this question because I feel like I have to get the right color, like choice.
Yeah.
Like I have to.
Yeah, you can't pick.
But like,
puce
I mean, I feel like I already know what Liana's might be. I don't know. I feel like I'm in like a. What do you think your color would be?
I don't know. I feel like you're. What?
No, in a good way. Like in a good way.
I don't know, because I have seen like stuff online, and I don't know how real it is from Super Sentai. I feel like isn't there a green and black?
And see, that's what we initially said. We were like, okay, if we become Rangers, it would probably be green and black. But now I'm thinking if we got to choose any color.
Right.
But then
now
I think,
now,
like
that doesn't
black
mean you
or
can't
green,
choose
probably.
green and black. But
yeah, right.
And everybody thought, I mean, if we're polling the internet, everybody thought Betty was going to be green.
I was going to say, everybody thought Betty was going to be the Green Ranger.
That was
everybody.
so hard because I couldn't say yes or no. I was just like, I'll let you guys just roll with it, you know?
I feel like good Roxy would be a good pink, knowing her character. I wouldn't put that
pink.
On like a.
I think she would be perfect for pink.
I feel like she would honestly be perfect for pink. So.
You know what? I'm thinking I was gonna say black. I feel like that's so Blaze, but then also my color when I was good was green. Like I was always wearing green in civilian. Was it pink?
Mine was pink.
So there you go. Pink and green. That's the
boom.
It is.
You made it for us.
It is.
Well done. Well done.
That's cute. That would have been fun.
That would have been fun.
Well, and I was gonna, Campbell, I was gonna ask you about, is it difficult to kind of come up with these characters? Because you're not ever really playing one character in the season, right? Because you were also playing Snide, and like that character comes up, and like so you have so many at your command, but you slipped into that voice so quickly. And I was gonna ask, like, is that difficult, or is that just like muscle memory at this point? Like, just something you know?
Oh gosh, this is such a long story. I'm gonna condense this. So like 9 times out of 10, when I see what a character looks like, the voice will come to me. And then there are those rare times where like nothing happens. And ironically, the 2 times were Scrozzle and Snide.
Wow.
And the first time, like with Snide, I'd actually gone into audition and didn't know what he looked like until they popped him up on the screen. And I was just like, what am I going to do for this?
Oh my gosh, that's so overwhelming.
He's just like, and he looks like a total psychopath. And I kind of felt like, I used everything in my bag of tricks, and I just started pushing my voice as hard as I could. And then boom, the Snide voice came out, and I was just like, oh, we're not going to go with that. And then, then I got it. It was like, how am I going to sustain this for a whole season?
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
But the worst part was I wasn't going to audition for Beast Morphers. I was going to take a break. And then they asked me at the last minute to audition, and I knew what Scrozzle looked like for a week. So I'm thinking, something will come to me. And then literally it was the morning of the audition. It was a half hour before I was supposed to go in. And I'm sitting there staring at myself in the bathroom mirror going, I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing. What am I going to do? Oh my gosh, I'm going to look like an idiot if I go in there and I don't have anything. So I just like started pushing my voice and nothing was coming out. And I just pushed and pushed and pushed. And eventually, boom, the voice you hear on the show came out. And I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But I thought, at this stage, it's just about me not looking like a fool when I go into the booth. So I went in there and I did it. And I didn't think anything was going to come of it. And then I got it. And I, was kind of like, oh, I really don't understand why they've chosen this. But then, once we finished the show, I look back on it now and I think, this is just my theory. Nobody's told me anything. I get the sense that maybe they went with it because there's something kind of childlike about it. And he's kind of mischievous. And so over time, it really took me a while to settle into that particular voice, but now I'm surprisingly very comfortable with it. And so I'm just so thrilled that I got that opportunity.
Oh, man.
I honestly think it fits so well. I think for all of us, when we were acting with the voice, because we didn't know the voice until the show came out, that like we're acting with, the stunties in the costume. And so we didn't know. And I think initially we were surprised. We were like, oh, like I was picturing like robotic, but now I look at Scrozzle and I'm like, that's the only voice it could be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it really is like, that's the voice. So how beautiful that you trusted exactly what came out and it was the right choice. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
I think
you.
you're right with your theory too, because Blaze and Roxy are so devious and rude and mean. So having the contrast of something childish and kind of it works so well. Because if it was super robotic in our little lair, I don't think it would have had that ping pong effect like it has.
Right.
Balance.
No, and I completely agree. Like I don't know how they even thought of our dynamic, but I love it. Like that's one thing I could name. Like that is one of my favorite things of the show. Like it just keeps it so interesting and fun that we are like, we need you and we need each other, but we all hate each other, and that's awesome. Like how fun is that?
Yeah.
I think it made it also easy to like put Scrozzle down too.
Yeah, like so fun. Like always like mad at him and like so just so fun.
Can we also say that is the most sarcastic villain base ever?
I know.
Right.
Everybody is like so sassy and like
And then, like, I think one of my favorite moments is like the one time, he gets a compliment, and I can't remember what he did. Oh, it was when he created that device that fixed something, and Roxy looked at him and said, "Well done, Scrozzle." And he's like, "Why, thank you." And she goes, "Hush." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, really? Come on."
I love that moment.
Well,
or what's the one of so what's the magic word? Is that the same one? What's the magic word? Now. And he
yeah, exactly.
Now.
And I screwed up telling the story earlier. The reason it was so funny, it was like, now. It's like, now. All right, fine. I'll just,
Oh my God, that's amazing. So for Kristina, because of course, Ben and Betty, as we talked about earlier, are such a like big, joyous part of the show. Right. They're just like their presence and everything on screen. It's just great. And so, but they do kind of evolve throughout the 2 seasons from just comedic relief to, as you said, characters, kind of fully fleshed out characters. And you can really tell how devoted they are to Grid Battle Force and making this successful and helping the Rangers. And there's a nice arc there. Do you feel the show got across that kind of more heroic side of them, and that were you happy with that arc kind of by the end of the season?
I think they did their best to, but I think I wanted more. And I think some of the fans actually wanted to see more too as well. Because a lot of gags that we did were like really funny and like, but I think it got to a point where I was like, the gags are fun, but I feel like what if we, put more gags in a scene where it actually helps out the Rangers, and sometimes it does, but I want to see it even more. So.
Oh, for sure. Now we have to get to some spicy tea. Okay. So.
I'm scared. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Spicy tea.
No. So in the last, so we had the chance to talk to some of the Rangers, and that included Jacqueline and Abraham. And I asked, oh, hey, if we were to come back for a reunion episode or a season 3, and there was like, you know, a time jump, what would you want your characters to like accomplish? And during that spot, they were like, oh, I was like, wedding bells, maybe, right? And they were like, oh, wedding bells between the characters, that'd be so great. We're like, oh yeah. And then we got to Jazz. And Jazz said
Oh my gosh, what did he say?
Jazz said that well, you know, he's kind of learning, he's diving into his art. He's diving into like his artwork and stuff because Roxy is kind of toxic for him. And like, you know, he's like figuring out life because of like what happened. And I was like, whoa. We were like, everybody was like spicy. It was very spicy. Now,
where did he get this? Like, Jazz just made this choice
on his own.
Now, evidently there is and I watched it. There's a thing on his TikTok, right? About like supposedly what went down.
With this video you guys made?
What went down between here?
Okay.
So what is the real situation? Is there spice? What is happening with this?
I can't believe this little TikTok did this, Lily.
Video. Are you kidding me?
That's what he said. That's what I said.
Yeah, I know that's what he said, but it's a TikTok video. That is not canon.
That is so
now
funny.
I'm gonna come after Jazz and be like, dude, this isn't this.
So it is not canon.
No.
It is separate. Everything's fine.
Separate. Everything's fine.
All right, just making sure. I just have to address the things that
this
happen.
Is so funny.
That's all I have to do.
We're like sitting there at lunch after we were doing the con all weekend, and it was all of us, and we were just sitting there eating Cafe Rio, and then they were like, "Let's do a TikTok," and all of a sudden I look over and they're carrying flowers and like doing all this stuff, and then Liana's like, "Okay, I'll do your TikTok with you," and there it is.
Doing what I'm told, and now
it's full tea.
That's how every bad story starts. It all started with a TikTok.
It all started with
all
a
I
TikTok.
said was just want to do a TikTok. Then everything went awry. You never do TikToks. That's the rule of thumb. So that seems like a perfect segue to ask that question now, because if you were to come back for a reunion episode or have a season 3, and there is that time jump in that, you know, kind of year gap, what would you want to see your characters doing?
Well, now I'm not so sure. I feel like since there's a big time jump, you never know what could happen. I feel like it would be really cute if they did end up together and they ended up being a couple, and potentially a married couple. That'd be super, super cute. But it could also be a really cool segue to have them just go on in their own separate ways and have them focus on art and being a ranger, and then whatever Roxy ends up doing. I feel like there could be so many different ways to play with. I mean, I think they're cute. I always thought they were cute. I'm not sure about Jazz now.
Way to go, Jazz. You just ruined.
Jazz.
I know. Just wait for the group chat after this message. After this, interview.
Oh my gosh.
Colby.
I don't know. It's really so. Final episode, right? They jump a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now he's Rory's commander and like all these things, you know, and so Blaze is now a stunt double. But I think that, you know, it would have been cool. I don't know. I think I totally agree with all that. I think it would have been fun to see all of them, like a nice closure of all of them together. You know what I mean? But like, it's, you know, but also it's fine. Like, you know, as long as he's, you know, continuing on that journey for himself. And I think he loves teaching, like Blaze loves teaching karate. And so maybe it's just more of that, you know, and finding his place in Grid Battle Force. But it seems like I said, like he didn't really have anything else. So maybe if he's being fulfilled in a position in Grid Battle Force, and maybe it's strength of, you know, security or something because of how hard he tried to break into it. You know, maybe there's like a nice reflection there, like paralleling or something. I don't know. I'm literally thinking of this as I go, but it's good. It's pretty good.
I think that was good. Kristina.
Wow. Well, aside from her being a ranger and having her dream come true, I mean, like, I saw some fans that are making these like edits of like Devin and Betty together, and I was like, They're kind of like really cute.
Wow, I've never
Like,
seen
I don't know.
these.
I feel like Devin would ground her for sure because like he has such like a grounding energy, and I feel like she's like so fun and like she would like kind of like get him to like loosen up more and like like play around more. So I don't know, like can we like get them together or something? Like I feel like if you, yeah, it'd be kind of cute.
I mean, we can start a ship hashtag.
Oh, yeah.
It can happen. It's gonna start. I like that. I never thought of that. I love that couple. That's great.
Daddy?
You say Daddy?
Daddy. Devin?
There's the hashtag right there.
Daddy and
Yeah, I'm like trying to figure it out.
Stop.
Bevan? Oh, cute Bevan.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's a good one too. Campbell, what is Scrozzle up to years from now? Is it like, do we have like Scrozzle 2.0? Is he like a millionaire and like he's easy energy conscious? Like, what is this new version of Scrozzle?
Man, I've played this out in my head so many times because, again, they didn't give me any backstory. I know nothing about this character. I can only make an educated guess based on what we saw in the show. We know he's a genius. We know he's a survivor. And I don't know what he was doing in that year where he was on the run. I really want to know why he went back to Corinth. That's really interesting. What's the connection there? But ideally, and at the risk of sounding self-serving, I would love for him to have some kind of redemption arc. I don't know what it would entail. I personally have a theory. No one has said this to me. This is just my own little, idea and everything. But I have a feeling he actually was a good character at one point, and something has happened and his memory has been wiped, and he doesn't remember that he was actually this good character. And I don't know. I mean, I have my own little. I don't know. I know what I'd like it to be, but I don't want to put it out there. But I would love for there to be some kind of backstory in the future where we find out, what his backstory was and what he was doing. And I kind of view him as a if he is redeemed, I would kind of view him as a cross between Alpha 5 and Finster.
Oh, two of my favorites. All right. So, by the way, you have given that more than a little thought. Can we just
all right?
Can we just put that out there?
We need it like a
that was like a fully
and
developed, and he's here, and it happens at 6:30 p.m. There was a lot. There's a lot of detail there. I love it. I think it's great. I'm just saying. This is my thing. So okay. So moving on from there. This one has. There's really no substance to this question at all. I'm just curious because I like this stuff. Because, and we've like heard it a couple times in this interview of like, I saw this online or I saw this like pop up, and we know how crazy Reddit threads can get. So you guys are actually doing this stuff and you're filming it. And so is there something like an idea or a thing that constantly comes up where you see that of someone describing like the process of filming or being part of the franchise or just being a ranger in general that you look at and you're like, that couldn't be farther from how things work or how the truth is? Like, like where did you even get that idea? Do you have that in your time as part of the franchise?
You guys,
Oh, that's such a great question. It taking me back, like I'm trying to remember, you know what I mean? What is everybody talking about back then? I mean, it's crazy. We've been home over 2 years now, which is just, you're like, how did the time go?
I feel like some of the things that caught me and Colby off guard originally was all the there was some fan edits trying to get Roxy and Blaze together. Those were pretty funny.
the toxic
Yeah, that's true.
I'm dead.
Right. Bloxy,
Oh my God.
forever.
God, what a great what a great name.
We're amazing. When we thought of
We
that.
kinda started it though. We really did.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like the duo, right? But yes, I guess it could also be like ship name. But wait, like, what is something that we were like, no, that's just not even true? You know what I mean? I don't know. I also feel like the fans like get excited, and so they come up with ideas, but it's not like them saying that is what's real. You know what I mean?
Actually,
Oh, what?
actually, I remember when we were filming, and as season 1 started airing, they started guessing the plot points, and we would be like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are spot on!" And it shocked us how spot on they would be. That I remember.
So they're right. Everything they said is actually right. There's no wrongs, actually. Yeah.
You're like, they're not hide anything from you guys.
That's the misunderstood thing, is that they are correct all the time.
all the time.
They know, though. All the fans are so smart because this is their world, you know? So it's like, of course, that they're like, I know that, you know, probably, I don't know, the Blaze Rocks are going to go bad or so. I don't know. You know what I mean? But
so good.
I don't know. Chris, can you think of anything? Like, I don't know if there's something that
like wrong or bad. I mean, I think this is just like an actor thing that maybe but I do this sometimes too. I think people forget that like the actor and the character are completely two different people, right? But like then again, like as a human, when I watch like TV shows, I get lost in it too, and I forget that the actor and the character are two different people, and most likely have not much in common. So
right.
Yeah, I've had some weird people attack me on Twitter for the choices I've made. Oh, I'm not even kidding. They're like, "How dare you do this to Evox?" I'm like, "They're like," and that Liana was acting.
I know. Me and Liana are like, we are so far away from the character.
I know.
Like,
I would hope Betty in real life every day and like falling all the time and like running into walls. Can you imagine? Like, I wouldn't lie. I would lie really quick.
You like physically
I wouldn't make it. Like,
oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Campbell, is there something that has popped up that you're like, where did that come from?
Yes.
That's a yes. That's a total yes right there.
No, I mean, I don't think I'm articulate enough to express this. You know, it's like sometimes you see critiques. Like, I mean, I love the fans. I love their devotion and everything, and I don't even mind fans being sometimes overly critical of certain seasons, because that just shows how much they love the show and how amazing it can be. But sometimes I get a little frustrated when they say, like, you know, "Oh, why did they do this? And why was the writing like this?" And I don't think that they understand, like, even just when you don't have anything holding you back as a writer, writing is hard. Writing is really hard. But when you are forced to write around pre-existing footage, you kind of almost end up with a tail wagging a dog scenario, where you've got to try and make it work and make it seem natural and non-clunky. And personally, I think, you know, what they've done the last few seasons, incorporating the pre-existing footage from the Sentai and still come up with these phenomenal stories, you know, it's a tribute to the writers. Yeah. So, you know, I get a little frustrated sometimes when people criticize the writing. "Oh, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they?" And it's just like, well, I mean, it's a lot harder than it sounds. And, you know, when you're a writer who's under certain constraints, you know, it's just, but, you know, yeah, I would say just understand that we have great writers, you know, they're doing the best, you know, with the pre-existing footage, and who knows what'll happen in the future. Maybe they'll start using less footage and it'll be, you know, they'll have more freedom to, you know, tell the stories that they're wanting to tell.
Yeah.
I think you articulated that fine.
I feel like, yeah, like same with even actors too. Like maybe that just comes at the point of like the choices that we really don't have, and that it's not like a bad thing. It's like, it's just a whole machine that all of us have to work together. So sometimes it's like, "Hey, why didn't you do this as an actor?" And it's like, "AI, it's not up to me," or "It's so much bigger than what you think it is. Like, it's not just what I have to say on set. Like, it's everybody." Or if I'm the last person to say, right? You have producers, then writers, then director, and then, you know what I mean? It's like, we need to get all this in a shot or something. Like, then we make the final cut, but because we're on the camera, you know, the blame goes to us sometimes. And it's like, you know, like, we just don't have the choice, you know, or, you know, we don't have a say in, like you're saying, what's written or something, you know? So also it's understanding that it's like, yeah, like the actor, not in like a bad way, just like it's a big machine and we're lower on the totem pole when it comes to like big choices. You know what I mean? So when fans are like, why didn't this happen? Like Campbell's saying, it's like, it's just bigger than, it's way more than you would think, you know?
Right.
But it's all positive. It's just because they care, like you said.
Yeah, there's a reason why we have directors on set, and there's a reason why we have producers and stuff like that. We're at the end of the day just trying to deliver lines the best we can and move the story along.
They want it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's purely it. And there's just some times where it's out of our control. And like you said, Colby, it's just sometimes just that's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we talked about it a little bit that the footage is such an iconic part of the franchise, and mostly because it's instantly recognizable. People know that immediately when they see Power Rangers that, it's this mishmash of new footage and that classic footage, and it has a certain style and look about it because of that. And so it's just kind of become this hybrid, over the years. But with, now that Beast Morphers is done, Dino Fury's in the can, and at this point we don't know what's next. Like, we have no roadmap, no clue of what is down the line. Do you think that it still needs to have that Sentai footage as part of it to really be Power Rangers, or could it venture into something like animation or a different kind of all complete original live action thing? Or does it need that to really kind of sustain what makes Power Rangers Power Rangers?
I got something. Honestly, the franchise is so strong. I think it could do either way. I think be strong on its own or continue with the footage. I feel like that would be something truly to ask the fans. Like, the people producing this should actually ask the fans, like, hey, what would you guys prefer? And then go from there. I think involving the fans and understanding what people really want would be super beneficial to the producers moving forward. There's many ways that people could go about this.
Yeah, I feel like that is the biggest thing. Like, is the reason it's been going for so long is because it's so consistent, right? Like, because the fans love that version of what the show is, or can it branch out? I think we talked about this. I don't know if it was like in New Zealand or on set or something like that. But I was saying, do you know how crazy cool it would be is if you did like some like CW Power Ranger show where it's like a teen, where it's like a teen show, but there's like morphing, but then it's more like it's just more mature content. But again, it just depends. Like, I think that it's important because a lot of the demographic is for younger kids. So it's like, is there an animated version there? But you're branching out the franchise. You could do so many things with it. And introduce Power Rangers in a new way to the new Gen Zs and to the next generations, you know what I mean? So it's cool to watch it to continue from what it's always been. It's been such a constant. I love that because it's got to be the longest running TV show or like something like that. You know what I mean? It's up there with all of them. And it's like, it would just be cool to see what Hasbro wants to do with that if they want to branch out and do different things. But I know I was always like, why is this not a CW show? Yeah, like, you have like Riverdale, but then there's morphing and there's like fighting. Like, it could be so cool. I always have that in back.
Yeah, it's so smart to have like the kids TV show running and then an adult version to have all the different avenues that people could soak up in different age groups. It would be so smart to take a play out of Star Wars' book with the animated series, the movies, the books. There's so many things, and I think Power Rangers does it well. Just add more for fans to eat up.
I think there's like a fan version. I forgot what it's called, but they're so good. But it's on YouTube, and it's a little bit darker, kind of like what Colby said. And like, there's Power Rangers, but they morph, and it's like, I don't know, there's like a lot of drama, And I'm like, I watch it and I really enjoy it. And I'm like, I think that's more. I mean, every time changes things, right? And obviously, this has been working for so long. But if you put out a season, it's a little bit darker, it doesn't do well, you just go back to the, what you were originally doing anyway. So, but it doesn't hurt to try.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I think they're in a position where they can try.
Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah. Just do it.
Hasbro, just do
it. Number one, I will sign up for the CW show in a heartbeat. That's amazing. Campbell, what do you think?
Oh, I agree with everybody. I think we should have the original format keep going, a darker version, animated series, comics, just a smorgasbord. I'd like that. And I'll have some of that.
Agreed. It's the best kind of buffet.
Seriously.
Good business.
So I know I could talk to you guys forever, and you probably don't want to talk to me forever, and I understand. I'm a lot.
No, this is amazing.
I'm a lot. I understand. So, but I have to let you guys go. So before we go, though, it has been a crazy year, and I hopefully, fingers crossed, we're doing this virtually for the last year, and maybe like next year it can actually be in person, and people kind of start going to conventions again. So. To help tide over, just for the fans, is there something you want to tell them, express to them? Kind of the floor is yours to say whatever you want to them.
Oh, I'm overwhelmed.
Did I go first? I think
Yeah, go, Chris. Go.
We get messages all the time. You know what I mean? And a lot of them are just so sweet and supportive. And I remember this one fan, I think he like messaged me last week and he was like, hey, like, how's your mental health? And I was like,
oh my God, so
wow.
So nice.
nice.
And that's just so sweet. I was like, these people are literally just checking up on us and you're just so unconditionally loving and supportive. And I just obviously just want to say thank you. Seriously, like, I think you guys are just the best and I cherish you so much.
Aw.
I love that, Chris. I love that so much.
So nice.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, like, I would probably just say the same thing. Like, I'm just, we got to do this because there are fans of such a beautiful franchise, and so like, I had the best experience of my entire life, and I'm still living that in a new way thanks to you guys. You know what I mean? And so it's just so beautiful to be a part of this in so many ways throughout my entire life, like being a kid and watching it. And so anyway, it's like you are creating this to keep going. Like if you want it to keep going, like your support is what's keeping it going, So it's like keep doing that. Keep loving it. Keep fueling that beautiful fire. And thank you for letting us share that with you,
Yeah, I ever since day one, we were so beautifully welcomed into the franchise with just so many warm virtual hugs when we were filming. And there was never a day where we were like, oh my gosh, like, what have we got ourselves into? It's like, no, like, what have we got ourselves into? This is incredible. And I think we all still feel that to this day. And going into this next year where we actually get to see you guys in person and really thank you face to face, and just being able to thank you guys virtually is incredible. So thank you so much for supporting not only us individually, because I know that means the world to all of us as people, but thank you for supporting our show. We worked incredibly hard on this. I hope you see that we did, and we made it for you guys. So thank you simply for just watching our show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love that.
Campbell.
I'm showing my age here, but I'm like, but when the show came out, I was in my 20s, so it wasn't a show that I would have watched, and but when I first saw a little bit of it on TV, I was not impressed. But I had no idea.
Keep the tea coming.
Jeez, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, within a number of years, it was going to become like the biggest part of my life, and to have worked on this show for like 16 years now, I'm just like, jeez. Wow, how many people get to say that? And I'm just overwhelmed, and I'm so grateful, and I'm just it's such a tremendous part of my life, and I'm so grateful to be part of such just an amazing family.
Wow.
That's a perfect way to end that. Way to bring that home.
Wow, again Campbell with the bow.
I know.
On the
He's so good at it.
Just nails it every time.
Oh my God. Well, guys, it has been a blast. You are one of my favorite casts. I've made no bones about that. And that will continue. And all the best success on everything that comes next. And stick around on Power Morphicon for some amazing panels coming up. So with that, peace.
Thank you so much.